And we welcome to the program Kelly Bennett, Multimedia Journalist, SuperTalk Mississippi News.
Hey, guys.
All right, Kelly, what's going on? You've got some rather positive news on the economic front in the state of Mississippi for us. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we had a couple of stories earlier this week that were good economically for certain areas. You've got Avid Boats, planning to renovate and expand its facility in Monroe County. It's an almost $8 million investment from the fishing boat manufacturer, and it's expected to create 50 new jobs. And if you're not familiar with the company, they produce high-quality aluminum fishing boats from their headquarters in Amory. Of course, that tornado in Amory earlier this year in March did a lot of damage to the facility. So they've decided not only to rebuild, but to expand. And construction should be complete by December of next year.
Wow, that's good stuff. Good news. What else you got on the economic front?
Well, we talk a lot about the hospital crisis in the state of Mississippi. Progressive Health Group has reached an agreement to acquire the only hospital in Chickasaw County. Trace Regional Hospital is expected to reopen its emergency room doors under new management. The transaction should be complete in December. Progressive Health Group CEO Quentin Whitwell, I know a lot of you are familiar with him. We've had him on our shows in the past. He says the hospital won't be able to offer every service available, but they're going to work out transfer agreements so that larger facilities will be able to make sure the patients receive the services they need.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. I didn't see that coming, honestly. It was kept fairly quiet, I believe, as it should be when you're negotiating a transaction like that. I just wonder if there's some others in the works for some of the other hospitals in the state, that certainly those that are struggling, if there's maybe a path that some of the larger ones see to acquire them and perhaps eliminate some of the back office expenses and handle that at the headquarters level, and maybe that's an economically viable model. Just thinking out loud, if we may see some more of that here in the state.
Yeah, and that's not, it's not just a Mississippi issue. That's really a nationwide issue.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, we're talking about money.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I'm looking forward to another income tax cut in 2024. Well, there was a bit of a deadlock this week. Governor Tate Reeves and the Joint Legislative Budget Committee seem to be deadlocked on the fiscal year 2025 budget estimate. Reeves refused to approve top lawmakers' proposed estimate Wednesday, citing concerns that a lower projection than he wanted might keep him from justifying these future income tax cuts. Members of the Budget Committee tried to adopt an estimate of just over $7.5 billion. Members of the Revenue Estimating Group recommend a figure that was about $117 million higher. Here's the good news. Representative Jason White, who's probably going to be the next House Speaker, says the legislature will probably have the votes to cut the income tax no matter where this revenue estimate lands.
Yeah, interesting. I think he's likely referring to the House, talking about Representative Jason White. I'm not sure the votes exist in the Senate. And Delbert Hosemann, Lieutenant Governor, said that he's interested. This is kind of plagiarizing his statements after that meeting, the Legislative Budget Office meeting, where they discussed the projections for fiscal year 25. But he said, we're interested in perhaps looking at cutting taxes, but may not be the income tax. He suggested that the path may be to cut or reduce the sales tax on groceries. He brought that up. But the governor clearly was not happy with the projections that came out. Of course, they're just projections, is all they are. And so I think what we're likely to see is some sort of bill that reduces the income tax based on actual revenues, not what's projected. I think what's projected is more a political matter, honestly, that the governor's concerned about, that if the projections are sort of weak, that maybe members of the legislature aren't so keen on supporting an income tax reduction when they're a little worried about just having sufficient revenues to pay the bills. But I think we'll
Yeah,
see
a lot
something.
a lot of lawmakers have been talking about a slow process to make this happen because they're concerned about where the national economy is right now with inflation being what it is. And, they're already phasing in these tax cuts, these historic tax cuts that they passed, and they're trying to see where that lands the math, basically.
Yeah, yeah, that's absolutely right. We're in the 3-year process right now of reducing the 5% bracket down to 4 on a fractional basis for the 3 years that we're starting now. So, but the governor wants to fully eliminate it. He's made that clear. That's a high priority. Let's talk about somebody winning a big chunk of money from the Mississippi Lottery.
Yeah, this is really cool. A Petal resident, of course, we don't know their name because they don't release that, but they walked away with a $100,000 prize after matching 4 of the 5 numbers during Monday's Powerball drawing. The ticket, which had a portion of the winning numbers in the red Powerball, was purchased from Dandy Dan's number 532 and Petal. The ticket holder doubled the $50,000 prize after opting into the I'll spit it out here in a minute, Gerard. After opting into the power play option of 2. Yep. I play the Powerball often. I haven't won yet.
Well, good luck to you. I hope you do. We want to be talking about you one day winning $1 billion. How about that?
Wouldn't that be nice?
Don't forget us little people now if that happens.
Right.
All right, I think we have finalized and wrapped up, put in the books, completed all of the races for public office that we just conducted here in Mississippi. The final one called earlier this week with Representative DeKeither Stamps declared the winner in the Public Service Commission Central District, prevailing over incumbent Republican Brett Bailey.
Yeah, and I thought it was kind of interesting. I don't know if most people are aware of this. It's not the first time that the Democrat has run for the position. 4 years ago, voters gave their support to Republican Brent Bailey.
I identified that Jackson needs somebody at a higher level to force it to do things that were necessary for water and sewer. No. So we put a plan together in 2013 to run for a Public Service Commission in 2019. And we were a little short in 2019. And so I'm the kind of person where I'm going to go figure out what I can do better and come back swinging.
So he did that, and he's been successful at it. And I thought it was interesting. He was on the Gallo show earlier this week, and he's a former Jackson City councilman. And he had some interesting things to say about some changes he'd like to see in the state capitol.
Well, I believe that Jackson has had some personnel issues that have caused problems, but it has a bigger structural issue. I believe that Jackson has the wrong form of government. The mayor-council form of government across the country has about 97% of all the public corruption cases. And we believe, and we've been pushing since 2014, for Jackson to change the form of government to the council manager form of government, so we can hire a competent working professional that will in turn hire department heads and move forward.
He thinks Jackson government is really just too big.
He needs to reduce it down to 4 council people and a mayor, unify them, and then hire someone who knows how to run a city to be in charge.
And I believe that if you'll go to supertalk.fm, we just published a story on the latest on the garbage contract and what's going on in the city of Jackson, so you can take a look at that.
RFP going out for that, right?
Right.
An RFP, yeah. So what a mess. Unbelievable. All right, so anything else going on? You probably saw where the IHL has hired someone to be the president of Jackson State University. Didn't have to go very far, just down the hall there at the IHL. And,
yeah, they finally named somebody yesterday. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Marcus Johnson, I believe, right, has been named.
Thank you. I didn't pull my notes on that one, so I don't have that story in front of me.
Chief Administrative Officer at IHL, so he has been tapped to lead the state's largest historically black college and university, that being Jackson State University in nearby Jackson. That at first it looked like they were not going to have someone named before they departed their meeting yesterday, and then behind the closed doors, some folks heard the applause, and that meant that kind of the white smoke rising over the Vatican there, they'd come out with a selection So that's done. Takes over for interim president Elaine Hayes Anthony. Interesting.
Big news there. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Well, Kelly, always appreciate you coming on middays and giving us an update. I'm sure we'll be talking to you soon. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great weekend.
You too. Coming right back, folks, in the Element Wealth studio.